Hold on. I think we weren't live.
Oh,
Here, let's try it again. All right. Hello and welcome to episode 53 of Aravaipa Trail Talk. I think we're officially live. If so, please comment in the chat and let us know. We had a couple false starts on our end, but I think we're good and live and good to go now. So if you can hear us, just pop in that chat, let us know. But I am your host, Jamil Curry, also go by Jam, here with Jubilee Paige.
Jubes.
Jubes. And
We
we're
did it.
back with Aravaipa Trail Talk, episode 53 here. We are going to be talking about the Across the Years run today. And this is, all right, loud and clear. Awesome.
Sweet.
So we hope that some of you who participated in the event are tuning in live today. We would love to answer your questions here. So drop them in the chat if you want to share one of your favorite memories or something cool that happened out there. We'd love to share your story here on the air. So we want to just start things off. Maybe we can just start by giving an overview for some people that are watching this video that have never heard of Across the Years or fixed time running in general.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I know that it's a unique part of the sport of ultra running. And yeah, do you want to give us a little recap?
Yeah, so if you've never done a fixed time race, Across the Years is actually one of the oldest running fixed time races, 6-day races in the U.S. And we're really proud of the fact that we get to gather each year and we run typically a 6-day, 3 days in the old year and 3 days in the new year. And fixed time just means that you are given a set time that you can go as far or as little bit as you'd like. And it's a great opportunity. I always see every year Across the Years, it's so fun to see people hit their PRs, to go further than they've ever done, to set a goal and meet that goal. And it's really exciting. So it's a special event. And if you've never tried a fixed time race, I highly encourage you to do it.
So Across the Years was started in around 1983. So it's been going on for a really long time, as Jubilee mentioned. And I got involved in the event in 2005. It was like how I got into the sport. I heard about Across the Years, and I signed up basically for 24 hours, not really knowing exactly what it was, and been part of the event ever since. And Aravaipa took it over in 2010, and we've been at Camelback Ranch now, I think for 10 years. Is it 10 years now? I've lost track of time, but it feels like it could have been like maybe 9 or 10 years now. So,
I mean, I've been the director of it for the last 5 years,
Yeah.
6 years. So, yeah.
probably close to that. And we added a 10-day in 2019 to 2020 to kind of ring in the new decade. And we brought it back again this year. So there were a lot of amazing stories that happened this year. And we wanted to just sit down so you could take a chance to share kind of from your perspective, what did you see out there? What were some of the maybe top performances or things that people who didn't attend wouldn't know kind of what happened?
I mean, so that's the beautiful thing about being out there for 10 days. You get to witness, all of these different distances, people coming out for anywhere from doing a marathon a day to 24 hours, 72 hours, setting records. They're reaching their 100-mile for the very first time. And then, of course, like the 10-dayers and the 6-dayers are doing these incredible distances. This year, we welcomed back Buddy, and it's his name is we call him Bibi, but it's Bujergal Biamba from Mongolia. And he, I think, first ran with us in 2018, won the 6-day, and then came back this year as part of the 10-day and was our overall winner with 690 miles overall. So some big numbers put up. But, I mean, aside from the 10-day, there's just all of these amazing stories, and that's what you get from Across the Years. At the awards, we do something a little bit different, and I have each one of the participants kind of tell their story, because that's what Across the Years really is, a collective of not just the miles that are put down on the track, but also the stories that are shared with each other, and the stories that you kind of live out there. So I have just a few.
Just a lot of stories.
I do.
Yeah,
It's
that's awesome.
It's really fun.
That's so cool. And yeah, and we've got we're going to jump into the chat too. I know Stephen Andrews, we see some of your comments here as well. Do you want to start with some of those, or?
We can, yeah.
Yeah, cool. So he says, Etta Bauer seemed to have the best age-graded performance. Was she close to any 6-day records? I know she did the 10-day. It's just hard to find the records. I'm not sure if you have that available.
So a couple of Marie Boyd and Etta Bauer, I believe she didn't necessarily go for an age record, but I am submitting, I think, one for her 6-day split for Germany. And then the same for Marie Boyd. She actually broke her own Australian record for the 6-day during her 10-day. So she has a couple records as well.
That's awesome. He also shouts out Eugene Bruckert.
Yep.
100 miles at age 86 in the 72-hour race.
Yeah.
And as a first-time runner, how bad were the conditions this year with the rain and mud on the first day in particular? It seemed noteworthy that 3 of the top favorites in the 6-day dropped. I know we did have – that was probably the worst day, the first day, or did it get –
The first day was probably the worst day. Yeah. The first couple of days, it was supposed to rain, I think, a lot more throughout the entire week, and we actually got really lucky. So the first day, I think in the afternoon, it started raining, and then on through the evening. And in the first, 48 hours, Pete Kostelnick, who was out there in the 6-day, he was looking to set a record. And then I believe Matt Shepard also was out there to set a Canadian record. They both withdrew from the 6-day.
Gotcha. Yeah, the course definitely got a bit muddy out there.
Yeah.
A little bit sloppy. But I was out there running, New Year's Day, even a couple days before, and it got in pretty good shape by then.
Yeah.
So, go ahead. What do you got for us?
Okay, so just kind of little bits from each distance, but part of the 10-day is we do a marathon a day. So anybody who wants to run a marathon, any of those 10 days can come in. We start at 9 o'clock and they can run a marathon. We had multiple people do multiple marathons throughout the week. But the very first day, I'll never forget it, because this woman came in. Her name is Susie Seeley. She's 62 years old, and she actually holds the world record for the most marathons under 4 hours.
Really?
And she set the pace for the women and held that until I think it was Melissa that came in and ran a marathon, or Sarah, actually, Ostazuski, came in and ran a marathon to take the podium. But she ended up second female in the marathon, and I think it was 3:52. So, but absolutely she went out there, crushed it. And she's like, okay, I'm done. It's sub 4, and she stayed on top.
Did she do sub 4 all 10 days?
She only ran the 28th.
Oh, just one day.
But she set the pace for every other person. So there was not a lot of sub 4s actually throughout the marathon.
Yeah.
Except for Sarah, Susie, and then one of my favorite stories was actually at the end of the 10 days. We had 2 gentlemen come in, Kevin Cody, who ended up on the podium, and then John Girl. Both of these kids actually first marathon ever, have never run a marathon. Kevin came in and I think got 3rd place in the men's podium. And then John came in, I think 2 days before, ran his very first marathon, did it in 4:18-ish, and loved it so much that he came back the next day. And I told him that he was maybe 3rd at the podium, if he wants to come back for awards. And he's like, I'll just come back and run. So he came back the second day, ran another marathon, beat his own time by 30 minutes, and ended up first place for the guys.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I just thought that was the coolest thing. He had so much fun, and he's like, oh, I can go faster. So came back and ran a sub 4.
That's awesome.
So Um, let's see. As far as okay, so a couple of like 100-mile shout outs because Paula Olson ran her very first 100-mile, and she volunteers with us a ton. She's a local Prescott runner and has run a lot of our races and the Fat Ox fixed time race as well, and then came back for Across the Years to run her very first 100-mile race, and then actually ended up on the podium. So that was really exciting for her, and she got her first buckle. So I'm always stoked for those stories as well. And then I think I saw Sean Drake in there in the chat.
Yep.
He also earned his very first 100-mile in the 72-hour, I believe.
Nice.
So 24-hour. I don't know if you guys follow Mike McKnight, but he's the low carb runner on Instagram, and he came out, was training to do a no calorie 24-hour. He's been proven to do a no calorie, just water 100-mile, and he had a goal of doing more than 100 miles. I think his goal was like 130 miles in 24 hours. So he wanted to like push an entire 24 hours with no calories, just water and I think salt taps.
He had some salt. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
it.
that was about it.
Just disrespecting our aid station.
He just kept going. So 118 miles actually he ended up with, and I think he was on the podium as well. I think second overall. Which, with no calories, I'm just like,
Yeah,
how?
I would not be able to do that. He clearly has like trained his body to be able to do this with like his diet and the way he's timed it, and obviously built up over time. You know, he didn't just jump straight up to this.
Definitely not.
But
No,
it's
he's
pretty,
been,
kind of amazing to see what the human body's capable of. I don't think he'll be doing every single one of his races like this. I don't think that was the point of this. This was to, in a controlled environment, see what the body's capable of, see what he could do personally. Yeah.
And that was the whole point. Like, it was this kind of grand experiment that he was bringing to Across the Years. And so it was really cool to witness. I know that he received kind of a lot of kudos on course as well. And so, yeah, it was just really cool to watch. And actually, one of my favorite things was his kiddos were there, and it had just rained the night before, and they were stomping in the mud. And so some of my favorite photos are of his two little kids, like absolutely just muddy from head to toe because they're absolutely just like chomping in the puddles. I'm like, it's amazing.
That's so
It's
funny.
adorable. 48-hour. Man. Ladies crushed this one. Okay, so 48 hours, out of the top 10, 7 were female. And then they actually swept the podium. So overall winners, it was Brenda Dreyer, Rachel Entrekin, and Lisa Devona, with 152, 167, 185. Just absolutely crushed top 3 in the 48 hour. So that's amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah. 72-hour Annabelle Hepworth. She's one of my favorite runners. 2 years ago, she was our overall 10-day winner. She still holds the record for 10 days on Across the Years course.
Overall.
Yeah. 740 miles is the record that she set. And she, talks about that day or those days, and it's just like the most perfect race that she describes. And so she came back this year, travels from Australia, and she overall top winner of the 72-hour. And then after her 72-hour, went and ran a marathon a day for 4 days. So putting in the miles.
That's awesome.
It's amazing.
Didn't get enough.
She actually earned her 1,000-mile jacket in 2 years. The only other, it's kind of a rare thing, but with the 10-day, people can start to do that. So Bud, Annabelle Hepworth, and Von Fawn also earned their 1,000-mile jackets this year, and they did it in 2 years. Davy Crockett, I believe, is the only one to do it in 2 years in the 6 day.
Wow.
So Yeah, pretty rare. What else? Oh, so many things.
Yeah, we got Sean Drake here in the chat. The best thing about this race, besides learning about myself, how much I can do even when sore and tired.
Yeah.
Sore and tired.
Yeah, Sean. So he did 72 hours, and I know that he was tired and sore, and he was coming through, and he was so close to the 100 mile, and I just missed his 100 mile. I think I was down, but he went in to take a nap and then came back out and rang the bell, and I was just so stoked for him. So yeah, amazing. I was so glad that he came. 72 hours was really fun because we had two guys, Gandhi and Andrew Garber. They went back and forth. Was running for the Richstone Family Center. If you guys Google, I think it's called For the Kids on YouTube, they actually created a mini documentary about his journey, about his 72 hours at ATY this year. It's really good. And he wanted to he was one of our charity runners. He was raising money for the Richstone Family Center, which is they adopt families and children. And I think he raised like $2,500 for that center and pushed himself beyond the 100-mile mark. So I think he has run 100 miles, has never gone beyond that mark, and actually ended up, I think, third on our podium, but went back and forth between him and Andrew for a majority of the time. So it was really kind of cool. And I think they're both part of the Wolf Pack, I guess.
Ooh, the Wolf Pack.
The
Wolf Pack did roll out.
They were rolling out on ATY. So yeah, it was really fun to see those guys and just tons of support and cool story. So take a look at, I think it's called For the Kids by Gandhi.
Awesome.
Let's see. Ooh, okay. So one of my favorite things about Across the Years, we have like 300 to 500 people each year, kind of spread out over the time. And the international representation of this race is so fun because every year we have someone from Germany, from the UK, from Australia, from this year we had someone from Hungary, Romania, and Mongolia and India. Arun, he was in the 10-day. He has been waiting since 2005, I believe. This has been on his radar, and he has been wanting to run Across the Years for the last 15 years and has finally gotten an opportunity to do it. And he, just so delightful to have out. And he's from, I believe, New Delhi, India. Yep. And then
he says he's the only multi-day runner from India, or the best one or something.
From India, yeah. So he's like the elite multi-day runner in his country, and he has been wanting to run Across the Years for a while, and is very excited to come out and wants to come back. So yeah, just super fun. We also had this lovely contingent from Romania. We had a few guys come from Romania, and Nicolae Bucano, I believe his name is Bucano. I'm going to say that. He was our overall 6-day winner, and he was just so fun. So the Romanian team is actually creating a 6-day in Romania. It'll be the first of its kind in their country. And so they came out to do several fixed time races in the United States, just to kind of learn the sport and to kind of learn how it's run. And Nikolai was just so fun at the very end at the award ceremony. His biggest thing was like, we run the miles, but something that he takes away from the running community is just like this collective, like, runners are so special, and it's just a community of love and a community of just story and like togetherness, and no matter where you're from, and you can share that, like wherever you're from, you're running together. And so that was one of the things that he took away from it, and I just thought that was really cool. So he was our overall 6-day winner. And Amy Maurer, she's run several times with us, earned her won the 6-day as well, and then earned her 1,000-mile jacket. So she's been coming back for the last, I think, 4 years. And was really, really stoked to see her perform.
Yeah, quick note from Mark McCaslin. I think you said Davy Crockett earned the 1,000-mile.
David
in
Johnson.
2 years, it was David Johnston.
You're right.
So 2 years to get 1,000-mile in the 6-day is dang impressive.
Yeah. Mark McCaslin, actually, he also earned his 1,000-mile jacket.
And then we've got definitely some people giving shout-outs to Stephen Smith for inspiration. He had a slow and miserable 6-day, but then changed to the 10-day, I guess. Then was running stronger, so he just needed a long warm-up.
Yeah. So Stephen, after like almost ending on the 6th-day, said, "Do you mind if I keep going?" He's like, I don't think I want to stop yet. So he re-registered for the 10-day and just needed those extra days to keep going.
That's awesome. Cool, yeah. And Ed Fax says he was a well-paced machine. He chimes in. And, it was fun to track his progress.
Yeah. Cool. What else do I have? In the 72 hours, so one of my favorite stories right at New Year's. I always love New Year's because New Year's Eve, we all get together, kind of collect it at midnight. And I don't know, we probably had maybe like 250, 300 people out there.
Oh my gosh.
And just the entire Main Street ATY was full of people ready to celebrate. And then we all do a lap together across the years. And just the energy is always a lot of fun. And then right after that, there was an underwear beer mile. And one of the gentlemen who ran it, his name is James Ehas. He's 69 years old. He's run every single one of the Nardini series with us. And he showed up, and I was like, "James, are you running the beer mile?" He's like, "Yeah." And he crushed. I think he got third.
Nice.
Which was awesome. So just amazing. Like, just, you're going to find all kinds of characters out there. But I was like, I learned so much about James that night. So hilarious.
Man can drink beer.
Oh my gosh.
Run.
Didn't know. Let's see. What else do we want to talk about? One of my favorite stories of the entire event, of course, is John Giesler. He was in the 10-day about 3 years ago. Was it 3 years ago? 2 years ago? 3 years ago. We came up with this concept called Around the Clock. And essentially what that is a kind of a challenge for 24-hour runners to run 1 lap per hour in the 24-hour time that you're on course. And
it's to be out there for every hour. So you
for every hour. So every hour you're going to do 1 lap. And then really, if you do that, it's really easy the first 12 hours, and then you kind of have to hit that overnight. And the longest you'll ever get to sleep is like an hour and a half, maybe, if you time it right. Of course, then, a lot of people did that for 24 hours. But John Giesler, 2-3 years ago, was like, I'll do it for 6 days. And he did. 144 hours around the clock. And he was the only person to do it. Actually, I think Shep might have done it the next year. And then in 2019, he attempted it for the 10-day and missed it by 1 hour. And it was like hour 130 something. It was way late in the race. And he missed by one hour. And so he decided, I'll just try it again. And he came back this year and 240 hours crushed and did 1 lap. He was out there in each hour for 240 hours.
Oh my gosh.
And by the end of it, I mean, he was just a machine. Like, he knew and he had a checklist on the back of his bib for each hour, and he was marking them off and like double checking the clock and making sure he made a check. And then he would come to the timing. It's like just making, I'm in, I got this.
I'm good.
Yep. And then he would do like a little turn, get the hour, and go straight back into the sleeping tent, just like clockwork, pun intended. So there you go.
Wow.
240 hours was just like,
Can't imagine.
I can't, like the sleep deprivation alone after 10 days, just amazing. What does Steven say?
Let's see. Well, Ed was saying he was wondering if John accomplished this.
Yeah.
What did John Giesler win for withstanding your torture for 10 days?
Oh, okay. So we actually have commissioned a clock from Aravaipa Artworks, and so we are actually creating him a working clock.
Working clock. That's awesome.
For his around the clock. That way he'll never miss an hour.
Sounds very deserving.
Yeah.
Ed says, I was in the recovery tent when he was sleeping, and the staff would come in to check so he wouldn't miss it.
Yeah.
So there, he had a little help out there.
It was kind of a group effort this time, where we all wanted to see him win and all like wanted to see him succeed, and he was so worried about it. There was one night that he came in, and he showed us his checklist, and he looked at me so dead straight and said, "I know what I'm doing, but I don't know what I'm doing." And I go, "This is around the clock and you're doing the one lap." And he goes, I know, but I went to bed and then I woke up and I don't know what I'm doing anymore.
What is this sheet? I don't understand what's happening here.
I don't know what this is. I know what I'm doing, but I don't know what this is. And it was just kind of a John Giesler moment, just a classic Giesler moment where it's just like, maybe the sleep deprivation is getting to him now. It's like, okay, yep. So, but yeah, we all kept him going, and it was.
So were there some others in the 24-hour that did the round the clock this year?
There was a few. Yeah. It was a little less popular this year, I think. After the first couple of years, people kind of realize how difficult it can be.
Yeah.
Even in the 24-hour, there are people who miss it and they, oversleep or they, miss the hour somehow. So yeah, it's a little bit harder, but John Giesler is the overall master of around the clock for sure. Yep.
Awesome. What else do we got?
Oh man, I could just keep going on and on. Okay, so as far as like, such a cute story. Okay, so Von Fawn, 2 years ago, she earned her 1,000-mile jacket this year. She also has done it in the 2 years, from 2019 to this year. And then 2019, met a gentleman named Mikey Sklar, and they did quite a few laps together, and they actually ended up together and running this year, which is really adorable and very excited about it. And it's just like this little ATY romance. Very, very cute. And she is actually our 10-day female winner, over 600 miles. Absolutely, and like just incredible. But she's done 600 miles both years, in 2019 and this year as well. And then in our 10-day, Etta Bauer, which I'm really stoked because she actually ended up on the podium, and then a newbie, Kaz Williams. So Kaz, this was her very first fixed time experience ever, and she just dove into the 10-day. And she's like, by the end of the 10-day, maybe she'll rein it back a little bit. She was like, I don't know why I did 10 days. But she actually, she said it was really humbling, and she learned a lot. And she actually ended up on the podium for the 10 days. And really delightful. I think she's from France. So, we had Robert Andrulis and Bill Dickey hit 3,000 miles, lifetime miles, which was really, really cool. And
yeah, it was pretty cool. I was there when Robert got his jacket, and I think Bill happened to be there at the same time, so he was able to congratulate him, and then
Yeah.
Robert stuck around
For Bill. Yeah.
when he earned his, which I thought was really appropriate and really
Yeah.
cool, because those
Yeah.
guys have been out here. I think Robert, it's taken him like 17 years, and I don't know how many times Bill Dickey's been out, but it's
Oh.
got to be at least that many probably.
For sure. Yeah. They kind of, so they're sitting at the top of our leaderboard as far as like lifetime miles. It's like John Giesler, Ed Eddinghausen, Martina Hausman, and then Robert and Bill. So
Yeah, it's kind of a cool thing. Like we have a lifetime leaderboard for across the years. It's a unique part of it,
Yep.
and everyone has their own permanent bib number too.
yeah.
And so you keep coming back, you keep racking up, not only what you do that year in whatever 24 hour or 6 days, but there's like a cumulative race going on. And these people are racing each other
Yeah.
over the course of years
Yeah.
and decades out at this event, which I think is kind of unique about it.
Yeah, I think Robert actually has his eye out for Ed Eddinghausen because he was like, how many miles can I close the gap?
I want to move up.
So I think possibly next year,
Don't
if Ed doesn't
tell
come out, he's coming out for you. So
Ed might have to show back up.
I know.
That's rad. We did, at some point, we're going to move on to this. Maybe this is the time. Stephen Andrews is asking about the last person standing event.
Yeah.
And I definitely wanted to talk about that. So first off, this is the second time we've done this. And this is based upon the Big's Backyard style format, which is, one lap of the backyard every hour, as long as you can go until there's one left. You have to make that cutoff. And theirs is 4.1667 miles, which equals to be 100 miles in 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So we have just over a mile loop at Camelback Ranch that we use. And so if you do one every 15 minutes, you still get to that 100 miles in 24 hours.
Yep.
The math basically works out. And so last year we had 2 years ago, we had 17 or 18 people start. And we went about 33 hours, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And this year we had 10 starters. Keith Munch, Lucas Burnett, Matt Feldick, Jen Laughlin, Paul Nielsen. He came 2 years ago.
Yep.
Rob Ricardo, Jeff Garmeyer, myself, David Kornman, and John Claus. And it was interesting this year. So there was some carnage early on. I think Matt was the first to go out. I made it. I think I was the fifth. Yeah, about halfway. I dropped it 100K. I had a cap from my coach.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think Jen Laughlin and Lucas were next. And they went a bit further. So we had down to 2, I think around mile 70 or 75.
I was going to say, I think Jen went like just under 70 miles.
Yeah, like 69
something
miles.
like that, yeah.
And I think Lucas was maybe one more.
I think so.
So 70. So we had Jeff Garmeyer, who's the man in the tiger suit.
Mm-hmm.
And we had Paul Nielsen. And he was really psyched up for this year. After 2 years ago, he was, I think, 3rd or 4th last time. And he, trained. He was researching who was coming, super serious. And they both, easily made it past 100 miles. And we're going into the next afternoon. And I came back on site that afternoon. And Paul was, you could tell, really affected by the heat and struggling.
Yeah.
He was, just barely making it. Having to head right back out without even getting any food or water.
There was a couple close calls for sure.
It was within seconds.
Yeah. We're all come on, Paul. And I was counting down as he was crossing the line and turning around and then going immediately.
So it always makes for really good drama. And Jeff Garmeyer, he just was having a good time. It's the first time he's done a format like this, I think, but he has so much through hiking experience and background. This seems like such a perfect event for him, and I would love to see him, what he could do in a longer edition of this. You can only go as far as the assist, as the other person helping, and
Right.
I think not having as many people and as strong performances this year from everyone else, I think hurt them a little bit. But it is what it is. So
Yeah.
it was still a lot of fun out there.
It's always fun to watch. It's
Yeah.
really like it kind of keeps you on your toes, and it's, it kind of injects a little energy as
Yeah.
well, halfway through the race. This year we did it on New Year's Day.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it was really, really fun. Paul Nielsen, actually, he stuck around for the rest of the 10 days. And I thought it was really cool because he actually ended up running another marathon a little bit later that week.
Of course.
And he went around the track a few more times. And I think he actually engaged with almost every single person left on the track in the 10 days and kind of was like sharing conversations with each person, which I thought was really cool. So I think he gained a little inspiration from the rest of the field and said next year he'd like to come back, I think, for 6 days.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I definitely want to keep pushing the last person standing. I would love, like, in a perfect world, I'd love to have maybe 25 to 30 people.
Yeah.
I don't think we want more than that. We'll probably cap it. But it'd be super fun to see, can we go 2 days? I think a minimum would be awesome to see if some people can pull that together.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Comment here from Steve Andrews. I don't know if you've heard this, but John Giesler apparently said his lifetime goal is 10,000 miles.
Yeah.
At ATY.
So when he earned his 5,000-mile jacket, I was like, John, how far are we going? And he goes, well, let's go another 5. And it was just, the most casual, like, yeah, that's absolutely he'll.
How many did he get in total this year?
He was just over, I believe, 400.
And he's over 5,000 miles now, though.
Oh,
like
well over.
Okay.
Yep, absolutely.
So maybe like 10 more years?
It's possible if we keep doing the 6 day.
Keep doing the
we'll
10
see.
day.
Or the 10 day.
Nice. What else you got?
So, if you come to across the years, you'll actually see a majority of Aravaipa staff and volunteers also participate as well. So I just thought it was really cool that our staff was out there grinding away and putting out miles. We had one of our RDs, Aaron Schmidt. He got his 200-mile buckle. We had one of our staff, Mike Santos, do his very first ultra at Across the Years. And several people hit over 100 miles. So I think collectively, Aravaipa staff ended up with 1,600 miles over the 10 days, which I thought was really, really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Aaron bested. Was it Noel? Was it Noel who had also 200?
So Noel got 200, and then Aaron had to do the one more because Noel went to Santan, and so left it open.
Aaron took the chance, took the opportunity.
Yeah,
love it.
It was great.
475 for John Giesler, according to Mark.
Yep.
Here in the chat room. That's awesome. Yeah. Well, huge shout out to everyone who came out and to you as well, Jubilee, for all the work on this one. Let's see. What can we look towards next year? Are we doing a 10-day again? Are we not sure yet?
I don't know.
You
so
don't know.
I think it'll be kind of we'll kind of keep it up in the air. I think we're kind of leaning toward doing a 6-day and keeping a 10-day as like a kind of a celebration festival every 5 years or so. So possibly the next 10-day that we'll see is in 2025.
Cool. Awesome. Well, if there are any more questions, actually, we can maybe open it up if there's any general chatter too. I know Trail Talk, previous format, we don't just talk about one topic. We talk about all things going on.
Yeah.
So there was a question in here from Tyler Flaherty. He's just asking, how hard was it to get the footage on Miller versus Hawks? So this is like a film we did like 5 or 6 years ago now. I mean, that was an interesting day for sure. It was me and Michael Carson out there, and we just we didn't really know exactly where we were going. We just kind of I think they're going to be in this area, so we just parked our car and ran down this hillside, and that's when we got some amazing stuff. Just kind of following these guys, but yeah, these dudes were crushing it. It's definitely tough, but we can also run fast too for 4 minutes at a time.
Yeah.
We could not keep up with them for much more than that. So thankful for that. Maybe we can chat real quickly about Black Canyon that is coming up. So yeah, we'll talk a little bit about Black Canyon, then we'll circle back and do any more questions in the chat. But yeah, we have Black Canyon coming up. It is the next golden ticket race here in the U.S. It's like the same day as Tarawera, and we just cleared the wait list. So if you've been on the wait list for Black Canyon, check your emails. We've had some people dropping out of the race.
Yep.
So some spots did open up.
Quite a few spots, really. Yeah.
So check your email and make sure you accept those coming up to get in on the race. Do you have anything else on that? Or just in general with Black Canyon?
I mean, it's going to be a lot of fun. This is actually the largest field that we've seen here at Black Canyon, and this is certainly the largest elite field that we've seen. So the race is going to be pretty spectacular, I think. And then we have a team here that is working to bring that entire day to a live stream as well. So that'll be really fun. So tune in and watch this incredible race unfold. I'm just excited to get back to Black Canyon because it's one of my favorite places in the whole wide world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you did the hike last year too after the race with Fox.
Yeah.
And if you guys haven't seen that film, it's on the Aravaipa channel called Black Canyon Connection. Really emotional film, I thought, but it was super cool probably for you to do the whole trail kind of in one shot.
Yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful trail. I had always done it in all these little segments, and I've never pieced it together. And so I wanted time to just spend and kind of decompress after the race. And of course, then I never go anywhere without my dog. And so Fox traveled 75 miles of the trail with me. So I thought that was pretty great job. Great
and
job,
now
Fox.
He just rests.
Yeah,
takes it easy. Let's see what else about Canyon. If you, we are still looking for volunteers for the event.
Yes.
So especially some of our later aid stations and our overnight shifts, and on Sunday as well. And then our live stream as well. If you want to join our live stream team, you can also check that out. Just go to the website, click on the volunteer link. So that's kind of our quick plug for Black Canyon. Let's see. Clint Green says 10 days seems to be popular now. Also, last person standing should grow. Yeah, we saw, I think, less people this year in the 10-day. I would imagine that probably we lost some people due to travel.
Yep.
And so, yeah, we'll see when we do that next.
Yep.
Question here about the filming for Jackpot. So we did just announce we're going to be doing a live stream for the Jackpot 100-mile. This is the USATF Road National Championships. Mm-hmm. So it's the Friday after Black Canyon. Normally they are on the same day, but this year they got separated by a week, so we're able to support both live streams. So yeah, we'll be up in Henderson, Nevada, near Las Vegas for that event. We'll have 16 hours of coverage following the top men and women as they compete out there. And another question about live streaming in 2022, what events are we doing? So I think our tentative schedule would be Black Canyon, Jackpot, and then Cocodona, Javelina. I'm not sure beyond that. There's probably some I'm missing, but we're open to some more, I guess. We'll see.
Cool.
See if we got anything good coming up. Clint Green's asking about no hanging out at the finish line of Black Canyon. Do you want to touch on that at all?
So, I mean, at the moment, Emory Henderson is actually a very small area. That was the case for 2021, only because we had a lot of restrictions due to COVID. This year, we're a little bit more open. So we are possibly exploring. No, we're not possibly. We are. We are exploring a possibility of moving the finish line to just a larger area just south of Emory Henderson. And if that's the case, then we will welcome everybody. And if it's still at Emory Henderson this year, then it will be limited to how many people we can shuttle in. So that's always the case. Yep.
Stay tuned. Hopefully we'll have some updates for you shortly on that. Let's see. Anything else that we want to check in about? Or is that it?
I don't know. That's all my stories. I mean, it's probably not all my stories, but
yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many stories.
It's such a good race.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just shout
Um,
out to everyone who joined us at Across the Years, because it's always so good to see everybody come back year after year. And it's one of the best things about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, shout out to my dad. He got his first 100-mile buckle, which I thought was pretty cool.
That was way cool.
He's been crushing it out there. He's getting ready for Black Canyon 60K,
60K.
which is going to be really great. So, cool. Well, thank you so much for taking time to join us today and this morning.
Yeah.
And for all of you tuning in, we are excited to be bringing more Aravaipa Trail Talks to all of you. We're hoping to do at least one per week and kind of keep you on the pulse of what's happening here at Aravaipa and just with the sport in general. So be sure to, stay tuned for more.
Cool.
That's it. Thanks so much, everyone.